Dr. Butler, will you check and see if that's on? It's on top of the website.
All right, I have 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. Jessica, roll call.
Lentz.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Overberg.
Here.
Hampton.
Here.
Maher.
Here.
Hurd.
Here.
Any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
Motion to approve agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Lentz.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
All right, first up we have our student spotlight, and today we have some high school speech students with Mrs. Rich and Mrs. Boland.
Come on up here, guys. We're live streaming, so you have to use.
All right, so for our speech season, we had 26 students participate this year, coached by Mrs. Rich and Mrs. Bolin. We also had 2 speech captains this year, Sarai Sanchez and myself. It was my first year, and this is her second year. Competition season is divided into sections: large group events and individual events, and a student can choose to participate in one or each, or both.
Large group begins with forming teams in October, lots of practice, then district and state contests. And it ends with All-State Festival in February. This year we competed in areas of ensemble acting, readers theater, improvisation, radio broadcasting, and short film. We took 9 events to district competition and 4 events advanced to state. We did not have any groups invited to All-State this year, sadly.
Some of the highlights of the large group portion of the season included several members trying new categories, several members perfecting categories they had participated in during previous years, including Sarai revamping a reader's theater script from her freshman year with a whole new team for her senior year, having several first-year teams, and using the KILJ radio station to record and edit our radio broadcasting events.
Now to share about individual events. Individuals choose their categories and perform pieces around December, while many of them are still in the middle of group practices. This year we had 13 students participating, several in more than one event. As we took 16 of those events to district competition, 14 qualified for state competition, and 1 was nominated to the All-State Festival in March.
Highlights from the individual events included several members successfully trying new categories, several members perfecting categories they have participated in during previous years, having 3 members trying individual events for the first time. Liana excelled in our new exploratory category of video casting, and Shay subbed for someone who was unable to attend district competition, and then proceeded to take that new to her piece onto state competition.
They performed the daytime show, traveled to speech competition, performed their categories, and made it back to show choir just in time to compete in finals. And last but not least, Sarai going to All-State for an individual category for the 3rd consecutive year.
Other momentous moments to share include Sarai Sanchez being selected both her junior and senior year to serve on the Iowa High School Speech Association Students Ensemble called RISE as one of the 3 representatives of the Southeast Iowa District. We are graduating 5 seniors, Sarai Sanchez, Lexi Murphy, Delana Horian, Zatori Williams, and Caden Getch.
First off, apologies for my appearance. I was just at a soccer game. As we look forward to the creativity of the current members and welcoming new members for the next contest season, we are excited to share that Mount Pleasant will be hosting both a judges training as well as an IE district competition for the 2026 to 2027 school year. Because contest performances are anonymous, we look forward to sharing the content's experience with everyone here. But we will also welcome many volunteers, as it takes a village to host such an enormous event.
I want to thank these students for being here. We did also just host our annual showcase for speech, and we did it right here last week. And we only had about half of our performances that we were able to showcase, and it still was over 2 hours long, and we had some amazing refreshments. Also, they're not used to reading from paper, they're used to memorizing and being prepared, so when they were just handed these as they walked in the door, that's why they're stumbling a little bit. What Jaron was saying is that 4 of our students participated in a show choir performance, show choir competition, and district competition on the same day. They performed show choir in the morning, came to speech in the afternoon, and went back to show choir for finals and in the evening. And so we were just super proud of those students for being able to do that, and all of our students and all the amazing things they've been able to do this year.
The IHSSA's philosophy is that we hope that students gain confidence in their communication skills, because it's an area in which no matter what direction they choose for a future career path or goals, that's something that's always going to help them out. And so team has grown, I think, every year. This is my 3rd year being involved, and we look forward to, I know our freshmen this year have friends they're recruiting already. And so like somebody mentioned, we get rolling in October and we don't wrap up until the end of March. Actually next year, because of Easter, we won't wrap up until early April. And so it feels long, but there's so many moving parts and so much diversity in the categories we can choose and the creativity these guys bring that we're entertained the whole time. So, thank you.
All right, on to our next recognition. We're going to recognize the retirees for this year.
Okay, it's my honor tonight to recognize a couple of our retirees. And Chris, you gotta come up here because we're live streaming, so you gotta come right up here.
I'm much better at kindergartners.
Do you want me to act like a kindergartner?
Sure, go ahead, sir. I've had yours for me.
Chris, 25 years, and when I think about a kindergarten teacher, I picture you. No, I'm seriously, because I have been in your room at many times over the years, and your positivity with the kids, and whether you guys are on the carpet and you're doing large group, or you've got your kids in small groups, whatever is happening, The kids are always engaged, and you're always positive and on. It's just such a, you've been such a foundational teacher and touched so many lives over the years, and we're gonna miss you, and you know, again, your legacy is amazing. So thanks for being part of Mount Pleasant Community School District, and congratulations on your retirement.
Catherine, I don't think so.
All right, Ted, you got to come up here.
This is really out of my.
Well, Ted, we go a long ways back. Yeah, since the very beginning. I remember when you were hired on the maintenance crew. I remember talking to the director of buildings and grounds at the time, and he'd come up with a different sort of test and had all of these different things laying on the table, and I just remember talking to him about hiring you at that time. I think that lasted for 2 years, is that right? Yeah, a little over 2 years, and then the opening came for the Director of Transportation, and Ted, you have done an amazing job over the years. We together, you know, I'm as a principal and as a superintendent for the last 10 years, you know, we problem solved together, and always tried to keep, and you always tried to keep the focus on the students and how we serve the students, and you know, it's not easy, and you've seen a lot of changes over the years from, you know, 23 years ago when you started, and the technology that has come around, but you've always had a student focus. You've always had a student focus, a safety focus, and we were always able to talk things through about, you know, well, let's go about that this way, you know.
Even when you left, we kept time.
We did, yeah, we sure did. So I have appreciated you so much, and you have served well. You have served well, and we're going to miss you and your service, and hopefully we'll, you know, Anna being the new director, we're going to see you around as well. So Ted, I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship and your service to the district. So thank you. I don't see Terry. Terry Shear is retiring as well, so we will get her recognition to her. So, all right.
We did approve your retirement, your early retirement, and we did hire a new superintendent, so we would like to recognize you as well for your 20 years of service, the last 10 as superintendent. So I was trying to think of what to talk about you. So one thing that comes to mind is, I think, when we think of you, that you have always been grounded in what's best for kids, right? You say that a lot. And then as we embarked on the Portrait of a Panther journey and definition, I think that you exemplify all of the traits of Portrait of a Panther. And as a superintendent, it's hard, right? You have to make tough decisions, and that's what you get paid to do. But none of us want to step in your shoes, for sure. So we've appreciated everything that you've done, and thank you for being the Portrait of a Panther.
Well, it has been my honor to serve the district. It's been 30 years ago that we came to Mount Pleasant. I'd never ever been to Southeast Iowa, and came down here, and interviewed for the associate principal position at the high school, and told Rob, we had a 6-month-old, our first baby at the time was actually, it wasn't 6 months old, he was born in June, so it was actually just a couple of months old. And here we are 30 years later, 8 kids later, and but it has been my honor to serve Mount Pleasant, this community and this school district, so thank you very much. And it just absolutely couldn't be done without the support of good board members. And May is School Board Recognition Month, and I'm gonna just read each year. I read a few facts about school boards in Iowa. Let me just go through these a bit. Iowa has 325 school districts, and they have either 5-member or 7-member boards. So that means there are 1,845 school board seats in Iowa. This is always interesting to me. 46% of those serving have 0 to 4 years of service. 30% have 5 to 8 years of service. 13% have 9 to 12 years of service, and 11% have 12 or more years of service. There are 215 boards that are 5-member boards and 110 that are 7-member boards. And those 1,845 people oversee a student enrollment of 480,665 students. And you also oversee over $7 billion in state funding, $7.19 billion as community representatives. And I can't say enough about our board. And as challenging as it has been over the last, even the last 18 months, over the last 2 months, it's been very challenging. And you guys have served well during that time. And you've kept your focus on the district and on the students of the district, and I just couldn't be prouder to serve beside you in serving this community and the students of this community. So I want to just thank you for your service. Mark, thank you. Thank you. Kevin, thank you. Craig. Thank you, Craig. Josh, for your years of service. Aaron, thank you very much. Thank you. Mike, thank you very much. Angie, thanks for your service. She's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
All right, Craig works cookies. Oh no, he's passing. Thank you. All right, lots of things to recognize this month. A lot of people put in a lot of work, and I'm happy to be part of it, and still have a lot of work in front of us and more change, but keep plowing ahead. And next we have Rachel Lindy from the Chamber Alliance to talk about where is the community going and how are we going to partner together.
All right, good evening. As Angie said, Rachel Indeed with the Mount Pleasant Area Chamber Alliance. Thank you for having me. I just thought I would start with a few quick updates from our office. Last week we celebrated the Small Business of the Year. It was awarded to Northeast Animal Hospital. And every year I say everybody deserves to win, and it's not a cliche, they really do. We have really amazing small businesses here in Henry County. Tomorrow we are celebrating the completion of Henry County Leadership, We have 7 great graduates and one really special one. Jessica participated in the class, so we'll get to celebrate Jessica and her classmates tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, we are hosting a candidate forum for the Henry County Primary Supervisor election. It is currently the only contested race, and that is hosted by our Government Relations Committee. All chamber members are invited to attend. Begins at 5:30 at the Heatelator Auditorium. And it will also be broadcast live on KILJ if you can't join us in person. So those are just kind of a few quick updates from our office. But really what I wanted to spend some time with you all tonight is give a quick update on economic development in Henry County. So many times we can't always discuss what's happening in economic development just because of some proprietary information. But I went to City Hall and asked for building permits. So building permits from January 1, 2025 through April 30th, 2026. Anybody have a guess how much has been done in that time frame in just the city of Mount Pleasant? I'm sorry, I don't have county or neighboring communities. Anybody have a guess?
Are you talking residential?
I'm talking building permits, so industrial, commercial, and residential. Craig, you can't answer it because I already told him. Anybody?
What's your guess? 25.
Higher. 64 million. And that is just fantastic, and that is coming, and what we know that only 3 million of that is Continental, and they've announced 85 million. And Craig already questioned me if I was accurate, and I told him to go to City Hall. So.
They're closed right now.
And also Walmart distribution is what I'm calling a home remodel. They have a lot of great things going on. They did represent about 44 million of that 64 million. The other is just commercial and housing properties. So we are working every day to grow our tax base, and what we are finding, a lot of it is coming from existing businesses, whether it be Lomont expanding here locally to even adding a Sonic, right? I mean, but 64 million for the past 16 months, and I do expect that number to grow exponentially in the next 14 months. So we do have a lot of great things going on in our community. I want to go back a minute and just understand the structure of our organization before we move forward. So I represent the Mount Pleasant Area Chamber Alliance. That is the Chamber of Commerce, which is a membership-based organization. We only do 2 community events, contrary to what some people think. We do the Crafts in the Park during Old Threshers and the Lighted Holiday Parade. Those are the only 2 community-involved events my office does. And then we will also, if Chamber is a membership-based organization, it's membership investments, it's sponsorships of different events, whether it be a golf outing or our annual banquet is a great time to celebrate our community. But everything we do on the Chamber represents businesses in Henry County. Economic Development is the Area Development Commission. It is currently today, has been funded by our local municipalities, our county, and our energy partners. That has been economic development funding thus far. We get a smidgen of money from the county only for tourism. And then we have a sister organization with Mount Pleasant Main Street. And they are kind of all the placemaking, all the fun that's happening in the square. They are driven, their financials are driven by investments, community events. They do a lot of fundraising, but they have a district. I think it's about an 18-block district that they represent, and they are part of Main Street Iowa and Main Street America. So that's just kind of an overall quick view of our funding. So in 2024, we are 3 boards, 3 budgets, 3 bylaws. We came together, the closure of Iowa Wesleyan had happened, and we kind of had a now what? We came together as boards, we came together as community leaders, and at that time we said, let's see if we could invest in economic development. So that was spring and fall of 2024. July of 2025, we contracted with a company called Convergent Nonprofit Solutions. They did a 3-week feasibility study in our community with 60+ businesses and 70+ individuals. And they tested $1.3 million for a capital campaign in economic development. Now let me pause and say that is a new idea. Traditionally in this community, we had capital campaigns, but it was for like something tangible, not necessarily economic development. So with the resounding support, these 60 plus businesses, 70 plus individuals said do something. They tested workforce, housing initiatives, a new industrial park, and placemaking. And with resounding support, if you take out the lows, you take out the highs, they said do something, and we will help you financially support workforce, housing initiatives, and an industrial park that later became a business park. Unfortunately, and it's unfortunate because I hear it all the time, is there's nothing to do, but placemaking ranked as fluff. I don't like that word, but that was kind of the reality. So in October of 2025 to April 15th of this year, we moved forward with a capital campaign, and you have it before you, with a $1 million campaign goal with four strategies all around workforce, housing, and a new business park. So I thought we could just spend a little time highlighting each one. And the fourth initiative is staffing. As I mentioned before, we're 3 organizations, 3 boards, 3 budgets, 3 bylaws. My office is 2+. It's myself and Erica Martin, and then we have a contract employee that comes in and helps us with some financials, and then Lisa is at Main Street is a staff of 1. So with workforce, we are working this is where we will hire somebody. We'll probably hire in the Q3 of this year, third quarter, for a workforce development staff person. The goal for this individual would be to work with all schools, work with SCC, and it's not only for future workforce, it is for current workforce. One thing that was really eye-opening as we went around and talked to all kinds of businesses, especially in the manufacturing sector, any given company has 10 to 20 jobs open at any time. And they're not all entry level. Some of them are everything from maybe an entry level position to an engineer. And that does not include Continental's expansion of 50 people. I was at Walmart Distribution. They are hiring like crazy. They need to double their maintenance staff by 20-some people in the next 12 to 18 months. So we have a lot of great jobs in our community that we need to fill. Not jobs only, but even careers. So we are looking to hire a workforce staff. I had a very quick conversation with Mr. Stone last week just about getting together and seeing how our organization and the high school and the school district can partner. Also, we have interns that come to our community. They're seeing great careers. We want to show them a great community. Henry County Leadership is an established program, but there is some potential there for participation. And then just work with the business and more roundtables. That is workforce in a nutshell. So you have strategies and key metrics lined out. Any questions on workforce? The next one was housing. There's a lot of perceived thoughts around housing in our community. So the very first thing we're going to do is complete a housing needs assessment. And actually the work of that is going to start this week. So a housing needs assessment will not only help us understand what our community stock is, it will also help us understand where our needs, and then we can work with developers, because a lot of times, whether it be a tax incentive through IFA or through their banks, they need to know the facts of the community. So the first thing we're going to do with the housing initiative is a housing needs assessment. And then through that, we want to identify constraints and how to overcome some of those constraints for affordable housing. Upper story development has been a huge success in the Main Street district. They do have their eye on 1 or 2 more buildings that they would like to see completed. And then just maybe work with the schools, the cities, and the counties to work on some type of targeted attraction campaign. So again, there's strategies and metrics. Questions on housing? And then the last big one was business park development. So our community, you look around, we have a lot of land. We have a lot of land, but the problem is that it's all currently privately owned. So when we have a company looking, we have to figure out who owns the land, and none of it is necessarily listed with a realtor. And we need the least path of, we need to have it be a smooth transition and be able to show our community to a prospective person that wants to come to our town. When we think of our current business park on the east side of town, Mid-Am bought the last available property there. There is some other slightly available, but it's all currently owned by private organizations. So the city has done some work on the west side of town for a potential business park, but we need to identify what's next and figure out what businesses would be good complementary businesses to our community. So we're not buying land in this campaign, but we are looking, hopefully we will be able to set ourselves up for success in year 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, if you will. And then the last strategic expansion, as I mentioned earlier, was staff. I need to go back. We currently, I don't think I said it, we have a goal of $1 million. Even though our time is done with our campaign help, we are still ongoing because we're at 92% of our goal. I am tickled pink to be at 92%, but that is where we are today, and I do believe we will meet our $1 million goal. And I think it goes without saying, I'm just here to share information. You are teaching our future workforce, and schools are such a large part of economic development that I just wanted to come and make sure you heard it firsthand from us and what was going on, and just thank you for your support and share the good news of our community. Do you have any questions?
When do you hope to complete your campaign, or does the goal have a window?
Oh, I would like to have completed it like 6 weeks ago. Right? Right now, all the asks have been made, and it's up to the individual businesses that we're waiting on. I don't want to say waiting on as a negative, it's just, it's in their time of decision.
Okay.
And I tucked in the first on front of you, our list of all of our current investors. So the work of this plan is new work for us. Yes, a little bit of is what we are currently doing, but it will take more staff, and it just, as you guys understand, everything takes a few dollars, so. Good question. That's nothing else. Thank you for having me.
Rachel?
Yeah.
I have really enjoyed being on the Chamber Alliance at our monthly meetings, and so I feel like it's given me good perspective on how the school system is connected to economic development. And so could you speak to that just a little bit, even more? I mean, I think we all understand how it's related to workforce and meeting those needs here locally for workforce. But just as it's connected as well to growing the population and what people are, when they look at Mount Pleasant as a place to work and live, what does the schools mean in terms of economic development?
Absolutely everything, right? I mean, it's just a part of the good ecosystem of economic development. Healthy businesses, healthy communities, healthy schools. Like you said, workforce is the easy answer, but we need we need progressive. We are up against some people. We are not a major metro, but I'm here to tell you we have awesome coffee shops, right? We have awesome teachers, we have awesome educators. I would say economic development is schools also, so please do not lose sight of it. I don't think I answered that through the whole, but attracting the young families for the future growth of our community is key, and quality schools is a part of that. Did I answer that at all?
Yeah, I'm just thinking in terms, because we've had a lot of conversation, again, over the last 18 months about the future of our district, the facilities of our district, addressing needs that way, what people are, and you could speak to that more, you know, what people are looking for when they are considering Mount Pleasant. to live and work.
So, right now we have no problem attracting retirees. They see us as a young, no offense to anybody of retirement age, as we just celebrated, I'm really sorry. But our office, I can't tell you how many times people come through and they're done raising their children, right? They're in the grandparent era. And they're like, oh, we love the quiet, we love the square, we love the affordability. So they want the quiet, right? But what I'm here to tell you is safety is huge too. As people look to relocate, safety is key, and Mount Pleasant is a part of safety is that. Safe schools, safe community. As far as economic development, how does the school not play a role is kind of where I'm at. Quality schools, quality facilities that we want to showcase is always huge too. And school districts, whenever we do a community tour, along with the pool and the hospital, we showcase school districts. Anything else?
I do have something that we continue to talk about, but it maybe plays into all of these, but daycare continues to be, when we're talking about attracting younger families, and when we know that we lose some students because of that, where does that play into this?
So previous to my arrival in the office, our office had been a large part of the Mount Pleasant Child Care Facility. Our time with that has come to an end, but that doesn't mean that we have stopped caring. If I had my perfect world, childcare would open at like 5 or 5:30, so the parent can make it to work at 6, but who wants to wake their child up at 5 or 5:30? I understand that. But childcare is a large part. Not everybody has a grandma, an auntie, or an uncle that is following them wherever they go, so to have a quality childcare is important. And I think it also is that we've seen it to be a feeder system into the pre-K and kindergartens.
Thank you for coming and sharing the details about this. This is very important to our work moving forward. As you know better than most, that funding is at a premium and we have to get creative, and that goes to say for the school district as well. So I hope to stay in close contact with your 3 boards as you move through this project. I'd like you to feel free to reach out to us in any way that we can help assist this project as well. And I hope that you come back in regular intervals. We just really need to stay in close contact with one another as organizations to make sure that we are helping hand in hand move forward, because neither of us, I speak for you, but neither of us can be super successful at this without the other. So I really appreciate you coming and sharing all this and for all the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you for that. And part of our new capital campaign initiatives are regular benchmarks. And it's okay if something doesn't succeed, but we have to be able to say why, right? And so you will see regular communication regarding our campaign through that, so that's an easy one. And as Mr. Hendrickson stated earlier, he comes to the chamber meetings and has been a regular guest at the Economic Development Board once, and that open communication has been very beneficial, I think, for all parties. So thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel.
We have no citizen comments tonight, so we'll move on to the review of the 25-26 district goals.
Okay, just again, keeping our goals in front of you as a board. We've talked about graduation rate and the action planning that we've done with our trying to improve our graduation rate. We talked at SIAC a lot about attendance and how that is going. Had a great discussion last week on attendance. We're really looking forward to sharing with you our academic data, some of the initial data that we're, the early data that we're seeing from our ISAS assessments. We're excited. We're excited to share that with you, and we're finishing out our goals on our skills for learning and students identified at risk on SABRS and decreasing that number, and Our collaborative teams are also finishing out our professional practice in rating themselves on the collective commitment number one, educators working collaboratively rather than isolation and taking collective responsibility for student learning. So,
I have one question, and I think it's probably to Dr. Butler. And since we reviewed graduation rates, there are some things where everybody measures the same ISTAP scores, things like that. When we looked at the graphs and we were below the state average, is it an apples to apples comparison for graduation rate metrics? Is that what we pulled from the Iowa School Performance Profile? So, but graduation requirements are set by boards, so is it truly an apples to apples? So if we are our standards higher, even lower than the rest who we're measuring against?
There are state graduation requirements that all districts have to follow. And then beyond that, boards can set additional expectation beyond the state is asking. So yeah, so there's some variety there.
So while we rate ourselves against the state average, we might not all be requiring the same things.
Are we requiring the minimum, or are we over the minimum?
Yeah.
We're over the minimum, I believe.
But, minimum, you could be at the minimum. Do we require more than the minimum?
Yes. Most districts do go beyond what just the state asks us for.
I think it's something to keep in mind as we move forward, and understanding where we want, it doesn't matter. We have a baseline, right, and we've been requiring the same amount, and we're measuring year over year against that same, we haven't changed the graduation requirements, but if we're digging in and looking at why we're below the state average, I think that deserves some attention to understand, is it because our bar is set higher, or is it something else?
We're having lots of conversations about graduation rate.
and requirements.
Absolutely.
Something to keep, we hadn't really talked about it, but just seeking to understand what, when we're talking about against the state, what does that look like? All right, we are on to approval of minutes, claims, and financials.
Okay. Board members, you have this in your packet. We did go through our April expenditures at the Finance Committee meeting on Friday, and so Jessica will take us through the ending April
Yes.
balances.
Yes, this is as of April 30th. So I do want to point out that in April, we received our second large property tax revenues. September and April are when the big amounts come in. So they are figured in here. We are still down 1.7 pretty much in the general fund. Student activity fund is up almost $60,000. The management fund continues to trend upward. Right now we're at $336,445 year over year. PEPL, we're up over $500,000 from the previous year. Capital projects were down $454,686 over the previous year. Debt service, that's all interest. Nutrition, year over year, we're down about $123,000 there. So overall, year over year, $1.3 million. But as we've spoke a lot over the past few months, the general fund is what we have been keeping our eye closely on for at least the last, almost 2 years with me, but I'm sure the previous SBO as well. So this is the year over year figures. Then we also have, going over with you where we are currently in our budget for fiscal year 2026. And I do want to point out that this is the working budget. This is our line item budget. So when I figure the line item budget, I'm very conservative. So budgeted revenues right now, and at this point of the school year, our target is about 83%. So we're right there in the general fund with the revenues that we've received. Our student activity fund, we're up 126%. Management fund, we're up 111% right there. Capital projects, we're up 82%. PEPL, 128%. Debt service, that's our Apple lease. And then nutrition, we're about 75% of our revenues collected in that fund that we're budgeted for. On the expenditure side, in the general fund, right now we're at 70.82, but I do want to point out that we end our fiscal year June 30th. So our July and August payrolls have to be accrued back to June 30th. So this is right where we need to be. We wouldn't want to be at 83% right here because we have to take into consideration our July and August payrolls. Then we go down to student activity fund. We have spent 87.61% of the budget. Management, we've spent 83%. Capital projects, we've spent 45%, and most of those occur until June 30th when Mr. Vanghouse and his crew does a lot of projects, but then also in the new fiscal year, you'll have a lot of expenses then too that will be in the next school year. PEPL, we're at 94.34%, and nutrition, we're at 76.49%. And then also included in your packet, I just kind of wanted to put it in there. I haven't had it in there for a while, but I wanted to give you the the fiscal year, year over year, month by month, just so I know the numbers are tiny, I'm sorry about that, but it just kind of gives you a larger picture of how we are trending month over month as compared to the prior year. And if you guys ever have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out to me. Do you have any questions on this month's or any in general?
No, I think if we could add to June committee meetings, could we look at this school year's project list and which ones got completed and which ones might carry over?
Carry over to the next.
I mean, we've been talking about next year's,
Yes.
right? But
Right.
can we look at what got completed and what didn't?
Yeah, because there's already been, for instance, I think $20,000 worth of carpet for the high school. So again, even though that was for fiscal year 27, of course they want to go ahead and order their supplies so they can get a move on it when time permits. So yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Motion to approve minutes, claims, and financials?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Flint,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Overberg,
Yes.
Hampton,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
And we've made it to reports. Our first report is the instructional report on our DCAP, our District Career and Academic Plan, by Mrs. Stewart.
I'll pull that up, Sasha.
Thanks for having me.
Put that on the bottom for a second.
There we go. Thanks for having me. I'm Sasha Steele. I'm your high school counselor. This is my third year here at Mount Pleasant. So what we're talking about today is a DCAP, which of course the acronyms in the school world is your District Career and Academic Plan. So it's kind of like your pathway that the school is following in order to integrate the students' individual plans and like move them through that process. So more the how it's happening. So an ICAP, an individual career and academic plan, each student has one of those. And this year it moved down to 5th grade was the big move. It's been an 8 through 12 initiative. This year the new House file moved it down to 5th grade, wanting them to bring in more career information, more self-understanding, starting to make some of those decisions even earlier. So we want to see that this district and career academic plan is integrated in the same stuff that actually you guys have been presenting on tonight, the graduation rate, our economic development, like we want to see all these things tied together, so this was like actually perfect to talk about tonight. Our team members are our high school counselor, middle school counselor, elementary counselor, since we're moving all the way down through 5th grade, our administration at the high school and the middle school. Mrs. Nearing, our counseling secretary, pulls a lot of our data for us and helps us keep going with our Cooter Navigator, which is our career information system. Our work-based learning coordinator, Mr. Rogers, secondary teachers, we want to have our CTE teachers on there. Ms. Ensminger has been helping as an instructional coach as well. And then also trying to partner with our community partners, especially Rachel and Dean, helps with our big career fair that we do in the fall. So 2016 legislation is when we started ICAP. Again, it was 8th grade at that point. Now we've moved it down to 5th. But really what we talked about is wanting to complete that core curriculum. So, your 3 years of math, 3 years of science, 4 years of English. So that's part of this DCAP as well, as making sure you're meeting those graduation requirements, but then also trying to establish what are our post-secondary plans, and do you need that 4th year of science so that you're ready for college? Should you hop in our welding class because that's more your career path? Are you business? So trying to partner that as well with our CTE programs, our career and technical education programs. So trying to work in reverse is what I always tell the kids. Like, okay, like 20 years from now, what do you want to be doing? Okay, so if you want to be living on the lake house, and owning your own boat and doing these things, like, okay, so what career is supporting that? And how are you going to work in reverse and go backwards? It even goes down to the nitty-gritty of like, okay, so should I take human anatomy or should I take chemistry? Like, which one's going to support me more in those post-secondary plans? There's 5 essential components. So your self-understanding is where we start. Like, okay, what do I know about myself? What are my strengths? What do I like to do? My interests? What do I feel confident doing? And a lot of that self-understanding is coming through Cooter Navigator system, where they're doing surveys and inventories and answering questions through a computer-based program. And then it magically, you put in really good information and it spits you out some awesome results. It gives you suggestions for those career paths. You can use that same program to do the career information. So looking at job outlook, income, salary ranges, what kind of duties are available for that job. There's almost a video for every job, so trying to get some of that feedback as well. And then the next big part is where we've got to do a lot more of the legwork. The first 2 are in our computer system, the career exploration. So bringing people in, us going out to industry as well, like making those connections. Can even be, it can even be college visits and those things. So like Indian Hills posts a good one for us. We went to that a couple of years. SCCO posts a career day for us. So partnering them as much as we can with what is available out there, either bringing that to them at the high school or bringing them out to the community. Post-secondary exploration, what do you want to do? What do you need? What do you need for training? Are you going to a 4-year college? Do you not need that 4-year degree and you only need a 2-year technical? What do you need? And let's explore that path. And then finally, decision day. This is where you're just asking about the graduation requirements, the core requirements. So we do have 4 years of English, 3 math, 3 science, 3 years of social studies and financial literacy. Like, those are the core. When we're talking about the things that we're actually stepping up and pushing our students a little bit further is in the specifics. Like with math, we're requiring up through Algebra 2, where that's above and beyond the minimum for the state. So students will need to earn 48 credits, so about 12 a year. And where that really comes in is they're making their 4-year plans. So their 4-year plans are initially developed in 8th grade. We just did it end of April. Went over there, worked with Ms. Burkhart, and we sat down with each student and Worked in reverse. Okay, you did the career assessments. Here's some suggestions. Okay, now what classes do you need during high school? So we got 8th graders like worried about going to high school, and they're like, well, you want me to choose every class I'm going to take while in high school? Like, yep, we're going to work in reverse and try to plan it out. It's a flexible document. We change it every spring, but we need to have a plan in place because I can't get you to senior year and you go, oh, I've never taken a foreign language. Oh, well, you don't get to go to UNI then, right? So we want to make sure that we have what we need. Again, the 5 essential components, this really just goes into more of probably what I've said. One of the things that is kind of newer for the DCAP is like their FAFSA initiative. So the free application for federal student aid, so getting that funding for the post-secondary plans. Otherwise, I think I probably covered everything on that one already. Again, going down to 5th grade, so expanding that middle school career development. We're addressing this a lot of times with the 5th, 6th grade with our second step program. They have a growth mindset piece, goal setting, so and then also with like our portrait of Panther. Our portrait of Panther is employability skills. That's what it is, the soft skills, so tying it back to your district career plan. And really we want to see all of those things like intertwined, and that's probably one of our goal areas to really make that like all meld together. Last 2 years ago, our GCAP was scored on a rubric system. We scored a 9 out of 36 in 2023. That was the first year that it was like scored instead of us just like saying we did X, Y, Z. And then 2024, we moved that up to 17 out of 36. Again, 2025, 17 out of 36. So really a lot of our categories were in like the developing or proficient range. This year they switched it up on us again, and they only gave us scores in 4 areas, but we're seeing developing and proficient in those 4 areas, which is work-based learning, FAFSA advisement, and then the middle school, and then the school board review. So I'm bringing you data today because that's going to get us moving that needle a little bit. So some of our data, we did meet our FAFSA completion goal. So 64% of our students completed the free application for federal student aid. It was only 52% last year at a state average of 50.8, and that's something they can still do through the end of June. So hopefully that number goes up a couple more. There's definitely a couple of students that I want to get in touch with. The state is giving me a monthly update about which students haven't completed it yet, which has been super helpful, so that I can, kind of knock on their doors and push parents a little bit more too, because it's not something the student can do on their own. This is a number that I would like to see improve their ICAPs. So this is their individual plan. So this is completing their career assessments, doing that self-understanding, doing their 4-year plan. We're right below 80% of them getting this completed. This is something that 100% of our students should be doing. We need to improve this area. So this is kind of one of those times where you need to track them down, like, oh, you happen to be absent on that day, like, well, we need to get this done because this is for the student. Like this helps plan their future. So that's definitely a number that we'd like to see close to 100%, if not 100. IRCs, industry recognized credentials, are, it's a credential or license or skill that you're going to use in the workforce. So it could be like something like a forklift driver license, right? Like you have to be 18 to do that one, so most of our students do that. Maybe it's first aid, maybe it's more down the phlebotomy, a CNA, a nurse's assistant. So we want 100% of our students to graduate with an IRC. We're going to do that this year. We're on track. I think we're going to get there right at 100%, using the skills to pay the bills. It is a government program that works on employability, soft skills. So they're working on professionalism. Oh my goodness, I have to go through it, but there's 6 different categories. Professionalism, communication. It looks extremely similar to our portrait of graduate right here. One more on that one. There's another cool, awesome thing, work-based learning, some cool data happening there. Our post-secondary readiness skills, we had almost 64% of our students involved in work-based learning. You're gonna see a big jump. Last year, we were only at 25% of our students, and part of that is a little bit on how we were coding it, so that actually like is one of our areas in our DCAP where we can strengthen things, because I think we are doing a lot of things for our students and moving them forward with their career choices, but sometimes it's just we aren't documenting it the way we should. But that's still quite a bit, almost 20% over our state average.
I have a question on this slide. When do, you talked about in the spring, so is that the ICAP stuff is done during advisory, or what time is set aside for that?
So we actually, we did the 8th graders during the spring just because they're getting ready, like registering for their classes. To complete all 3 would probably take you about 35 minutes. So, and they're just updating the 4-year plan that we really dig into 8th grade. So like, oh, I don't want to take IJAG anymore, I now want to be in Spanish too. Like, it's just little tweaks. So it's doable. 2026 goals, again, 100% of our students having that ICAP completed, which is just gonna move our district forward. 100% of our students with IRCs and continue to grow that work-based learning piece. The other thing that I would like to see happen, and it was my goal for this year, that really I didn't get it off the ground, is really defining that pathway for each student as far as in our CTE program specifically. So they would know, like, okay, if I know I wanna be a sous chef, I know which classes to take to get there. I know I want to be an engineer, what classes do we have here at high school that are going to support that, and kind of really laying out that pathway. And Dr. Butler would probably be great at making a great graphic for this, but like really making this layout. And I mean, I don't know, I picture it posted outside the welding room door, and you know, like, here, when you walk in here, this is what you need to do to get to be the underwater welder. Lots of information there.
Besides presenting to us, what else do you need from the school board?
I would say, just honestly, like as parents, like having those conversations with your children and with all of like the kids that you come into touch with, and talking about being more that mentor role. It's not really a school board maybe role, but it needs to be, I don't know, it's really like a lot about what Rachel's saying too, and Jean, and like it just needs to be this whole approach where we're helping our kids grow.
Any suggestions on how you communicate to your high schooler why they have to take math?
Why they have to take math?
Like algebra or calculus, right? Some of those are like
personal
this.
question, or maybe.
I hear that a lot across, you know.
Yeah.
I get asked, do you use geometry? Do you use algebra? Do you use calculus? So,
and honestly, like for math specifically, I would go, you know, Miss Anderson, Miss Krutzinger, and like, okay, give me an example of how this kid's gonna use this, because, and they're great about that stuff, it's just like, and having those conversations, but it is a one-on-one conversation, which is what makes it harder. It's like, okay, you're supposed to do math because you need to have math to graduate. Yep, but making it more meaningful. And they do talk about different career paths, like within their classrooms too, but it's not an everyday thing.
thank you.
Thank you, Dad.
Thanks, Sasha.
I appreciate your time. It's something that's super important to me.
Yeah,
So thanks.
very good, thank you.
Superintendent.
Okay. Baccalaureate and senior awards are on Wednesday night. They start at 6:30 in the high school with baccalaureate, and then about 7 o'clock is senior awards. Mr. Stone, anything else on that?
We got 7:15 was the official time for senior awards.
7:15,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. And then class of 2026 graduation is this Sunday, 2:30 in the gymnasium. Let me know if you are planning to attend so we can reserve seats for you. If you could let me know that, would be great. Number 3, the mentoring colloquium is May 20th at 3:45 right here in the High School Media Center. It's really the culmination of our mentees, their 2-year journey through the mentoring program. If you can make it, it just is really great. It's kind of their story for the first 2 years, and Dr. Butler's done a great job of putting this all together, and it's really heartfelt for a lot of them, and so if you can make it to that colloquium, that would be wonderful. Number 4, student handbook review. Now there's a little bit of change here. We had a lot of conversation on Friday in our team meeting, and the principals have asked, because of some of the legislation that has to do with student management, student behaviors, and some of the changes, they would like to, if they could, once we close school out, once students are gone, teachers are gone, where to have some time where they can really sit together, make sure that they've done a really good review. Anything new that needs to go in there is going in, and they would review that with you on August 6th for the policy committee.
When is registration?
Registration is August 4th. We had that conversation as well, that we're really not doing many hard copy handbooks anymore, and so we did talk about that as well. And we may, if someone asks for a handbook, it wouldn't be approved yet at that time. Right. The board wouldn't have approved it. And principals, anything else on that?
No, we also talked about how Mark Peterson has to weigh in on it because of the attendance part, which we always on it with the nursing part, and to try to get all of that done between now and the beginning of June, and all of us having time to sit down together do it is very hard.
Pending legislation.
Yes.
So are you saying the 6th is the first time we'll be able to view it?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, these guys, they finish up their, I would expect it to, Katie, help me out, Mark. Yeah, I would expect it would be done and ready for your review by mid to late June.
Before we're on contract, as long as we know everything that's going to be changing, legislatively, yes. And before that, 'cause that's what we talk about, is meeting once the kids leave, and just having like an afternoon or having time to sit as a team that works on it and do that.
Do we put it on July, and then knowing that tentatively we may push approval back to August?
That would be fine. The only issue with that is the principals are off contract in July, so for them they wouldn't be available to go through it with
Okay.
you. So.
Well, we could still go through it in July and have questions ready for.
I'll put it on. Katie, you don't have anything on your calendar, right? Or July. I'll put it on the list for Sharon. We can discuss this issue.
Okay, number 5, we will still plan to have our property and casualty insurance renewal review at the June 5th Finance Committee meeting. So we'll have our representative there to go over the renewal information. Number 6, again, the Iowa School Board Association Summit on Student Success, which is June 9th, Shared Vision, Strong Outcomes. I know Angie's going to go, Dr. Butler's going to go, I plan to attend. Let me know, because we can still get you registered. It's just up and back, up to Ankeny early in the morning and then back that same day. So it's really been a great, it's great professional development. Plus you get board hours for getting the IASB board award if you guys can go. So, okay, and then number 7, we talked about a little bit the summer school board meeting schedule. So no work session in May. We'll have our regular June meeting. No work session in June. We'll have a regular July meeting. work session, no work session in July, and then back on schedule for regular meeting in August, and then work session in August. So, and then I do have a legislative update that I want to go through with you. I did review this with the Finance Committee team on Friday, and because there's a lot of this is finance related. So last week we had Margaret Buckton from Rural School Advocates of Iowa and Dave Doughton from School Administrators of Iowa. They were at our regional superintendent meeting going through the legislation that was passed. And not all of it has been signed yet by the governor. They do anticipate that she will sign all of this legislation. Some of the things that they saw as challenges that are new is a second enrollment count date. I think we've talked a little bit about this. So you're going to have certified enrollment count not only in October, you know, the first school day in October, that's what it's always been, but you'll also have a count date in January. And so what they'll do is take the average of those two counts, and that will be your certified enrollment for the 27-28 school year. So that's new. You're just talking to Cindy Smith about that, who heads up our certified enrollment. We're actually doing student reporting in Iowa, the winter version at that time. So it's not going to be another huge thing, but the question is, it might help you, it might hurt you as far as the average goes. It just depends. So with 2% SSA, there are 199 school districts on the budget guarantee. That's the largest number in a long time. Again, as you guys know, the state is paying the $42 million that would be property tax for districts on the budget guarantee. And then $7 million in supplementary salary for support staff. That's half of what it was. It was $14 million. They approved $7 million. With regard to property tax, it's kind of what they did do and what they didn't do. What they didn't do, there are no limitations on the management fund taxing authority. They talked about that. Actually, I've talked about that for a number of years, about limiting the management fund. That did not happen. They did not lower the levy rates for PEPL, the physical plant and equipment levy. They had talked about lowering the 33-cent PEPL that the board approves, and lowering the $1.34 that the voters approved. Neither one of those got lowered, so that's a good thing in terms of funding for schools and infrastructure. And they also did not lower the debt levy maximums or the voter limits on that. So it's still $2.70 per thousand, with one question on a vote for a general obligation bond. And you can go two questions and still go up to $4.05. So those did not change. They had talked about requiring a supermajority vote to bond against your SAVE revenue. That did not happen. And so that's, again, I think for infrastructure purposes, that's a good thing. Districts have needs, and we've got to meet those needs, and SAVE revenue is one way, and bonding against SAVE revenue is an important way to do that. What they also didn't do that we had hoped they would was to give a second bond vote date in June, but that did not happen, and so you just have the one date with the general election in November for general obligation bonding. What they did do in terms of how they worked to try to lower property taxes across the state, the uniform levy, which currently is $5.40 per thousand. So again, I told the finance committee, in terms of the bucket for the general fund, $5.40 is applied to property, to the valuations, and that raises the bucket up, raises the bucket up so far, whatever that number is. And then state aid, it takes over from there. It goes from the $5.40, whatever that brings in, up to 87.5%. That is state aid, and then property tax finishes it off, that last 12 to 13%. So what they're doing is they're reducing that $5.40 in fiscal year 28 to $5.10. So what that means is the part that is state aid is increasing, and then it's going to go down to $4.90 for fiscal year 29. And so that is going to cost the state an additional about $100 million over that time period. The saved diversions, the saved dollars are penny sales tax dollars. We call it penny sales or construction fund. Those dollars can be used in the same manner as PEPAL dollars, physical plant and equipment. They are going to divert some of those saved dollars coming up in fiscal year 27, 12.5% in fiscal year 27. It's about $82 per student. Right now we're receiving between $1,300 and $1,400 per student. So it's a reduction of $82 per student. For Mount Pleasant, that's going to be somewhere between $100,000 and $110,000 of save reduction. Now the good thing is, Margaret Buckman told us that sales tax is running 5% higher than the previous year. So that is good because that money is collected and then distributed on a per pupil basis. That could go up to 15% in fiscal 28, 17.5% in fiscal year 29, 22.5% in fiscal year 20, and in fiscal year 31 up to 25%. Now they did mention they don't have to do this. It's not in the legislation that they absolutely have to increase these percentages. If they decided not to, they could make that choice as well. But over that period for Mount Pleasant, about a 10-year period over all of that, if you take this out 10 years, it's about $2 million in real money that could be spent on facilities. And so it certainly does have an effect. Unspent authorized budget, it requires school boards to limit unspent authorized budget to no more than 35% of a district's authorized expenditures for a budget year beginning July 1, 2026. So that's again why it's important. When we certify the budget, and I always talk about that in terms of capacity, certifying your max budget authority on capacity is important. And then, as Jessica said, you let your line item budget, what you think you're going to have for revenues, really, your line item budget drives your spending. So if they do this, how this affects Mount Pleasant. For Mount Pleasant, the fiscal year, actually 27, should have had 27 there. The general fund authorized expenditures about $27.4 million. If you take that times 35%, you're at about $9.6 million on unspent authorized budget. So we're below that. But there are districts that are above that 35%, and the remedy for that, we have been told that the remedy for that is the state will just come in, take an eraser, and erase your unspent authorized budget. As you guys know, it's not cash, it's a figure of your spending authority. And so if you're above that, that's what we've been told, it will go away. And some things unrelated to finance. The 8th grade student eligibility rule, it did pass, and so that means that 8th graders can now participate in high school sports, varsity sports, so there will be rules developed from the Boys Association and the Girls Union, so that's coming. Just my comment, I think that's a huge mistake for our kids, but it passed. Student behavior bill passed. There's elements of that are going to require staff professional development. That's why we need to get some of those things in our handbook. The student health bill passed. It's going to limit screen time, or there are screen time limits that are going to need to be implemented. And rules will be coming out on that as well, so there's more to come with that. We've talked some about concurrent enrollment. Part of the bill for concurrent enrollment, we know that districts can bill students if a course is dropped or failed. So we haven't had that, the authority to do that, and the district can make that decision. So we just have to make sure we've got in policy. I actually talked to the School Board Association about this, and really our policy on reimbursement speaks to this. So we would be ready if the district decides that we're going to bill students if a course is dropped or failed. You will also have the flexibility to look at an individual situation and determine whether you want to bill a family or not. You know, maybe there's extenuating circumstances that will need to be taken into account. The bill also says if in-person, if the modality for a course is in-person, for example, we teach some in-person concurrent enrollment courses here at the high school. If that's if in-person is available, then the course must be taken in person. Again, and there will be flexibility on that as well. And then final thing here in the update anyway, we've talked a lot about this in our district, but late birthday 5-year-olds, and they haven't put a date on it yet, but it was mentioned that anybody who's born later than January, perhaps, if you turn 5, in January or after January, that 5-year-old can take and be counted in 4-year-old preschool. So, but you only get the funding one time. You can't take it one time and then stay in preschool and get the funding a second time. So there'll be more to come on those rules as well. So that's the legislative update and the superintendent's report.
Any questions for Mr. Henderson? On to board committee reports. We have the minutes of the Finance, Insight, and Policy. Anybody want to share anything outstanding from those meetings? Nope. Other board communications. Anybody have anything else they would like to share?
What's this book?
It's your nighttime reading. As part of, it's from the IASB. It goes along with some of the training that we did do together as a board. Talks about the study, the lighthouse study, how to become, it ties in with all the other learnings. It'll go along with the Student Summit on Success. Just goes into some more detail on that, so they're giving them out to all school board members. But
I think it'd be a great opportunity. There's, you could really use this. I was looking through it. You could really use it for a board book study. You could do it chapter at a time, or decide which chapters work well for you. I think it would be great learning.
as a board.
Obviously, the thing that they overall shared is what makes an effective board and how do you get high achieving district. So those are all things that we all want and share as a common vision. So as we move forward together with our new superintendent as well, I think should provide some direction for us as well.
So ours to take home.
It's yours to take home, yep.
Craig, I expect a report. Next committee meeting.
Since that would be like a book study, I would expect somebody to bring treats then.
Mark?
I can do that as long as I don't. You get the video version.
Thank you.
All right, on to consent items. We have personnel and open enrollment.
Personnel and open enrollment, I did make a few notes on board members' open enrollments there, and would recommend that you approve.
Motion to approve personnel and open enrollment.
Second.
Any questions on it? Jessica, roll call?
Flint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. Our first item is consideration to approve the elementary English language arts literacy adoption.
Hi there. Alrighty, I have shared before that we had an adoption committee come together to explore two new potential literacy curriculums in addition to our current CKLA curriculum. We looked at Benchmark Advance and Magnetic Literacy. There were 14 teachers and 2 administrators and myself engaged in that learning. We had vendors from both Benchmark and Magnetic come on the dates you see here to share with us their programming. And then from that, I'm going to switch slides, sir. There are the people that were involved in that. From that, I had each of the participants complete rubrics. They did a rubric for Benchmark, they did a rubric for Magnetic, and they did a rubric for CKLA to give feedback on the materials, the print materials, the online materials from the student's perspective, and the print and online materials from the teacher perspective. So if you click on the next slide.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's the rubric there, which is fine. You can show that. So that's the tool that they use. They give rater feedback on Benchmark Advance, Magnetic, and CKLA. And so from there, I can show you the results of that. Yeah, from there we've got, go back. From there we got feedback from all of them. There were 36 possible points. Some of them didn't answer all of the questions on the rubric, so I had to just give the scores for the questions they answered for all 3 vendors. So if they answered questions for all 3 vendors, I could give those points. And can you click on that, please? The actual document, it's a link itself.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
All right.
And if you can zoom in, you can kind of see 36 points were possible, and going through, it was anonymous, going through each teacher. There were 13 of them that gave solid responses all the way through. Almost unanimously, Magnetic scored the highest. I don't know if you guys can see the colors on those, but 34 out of 6, 25 out of 6. So if you kind of scroll down, you can see how they scored. The first column is the Benchmark Advance. The middle column is Magnetic, and the third column is CKLA, which is what we currently have. So those were their scores on the rubric. Had a pretty heavy consensus for Magnetic. And so then the final piece was I had a debrief meeting, where after I had this information, I didn't share this information with them, but I wanted just to hear from them. They had a few days to kind of process all of the information, and so then I pushed out a survey,
and said, what's your recommendation? You've had plenty of time to think now. What's your official recommendation? And out of the responses, we had 92% of them recommended we move forward with adopting magnetic literacy. And then the next slide is just some comments they had. Many of them felt it would be a good fit for a lot of reasons, as you can see there. It aligns with our letters training, which Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling is the training that we've put 42 of our teachers through over the last 2 years. It's training that builds capacity in teachers and understanding how to teach reading and makes them really solid, well-informed purchasers and users of literacy curriculum, so it aligns with that. There was also a comment on there about how it is heavy and strong on writing, and where we are desperately in need of amping up our writing instruction. So that's some good comments. I think there's a second slide of comments, yeah. So with that, I'm coming to the board with a recommendation that we move forward with the adoption of magnetic literacy moving forward for the 26-27 school year. Magnetic is also, it's from the same vendor as iReady, which is the math curriculum for elementary, so they would be on the same platform, which would be another reason. I'm not sure if that was in there, but that was something that we talked about quite a bit. Having both on the same platform would be a nice, clean way to look at data and move forward. What questions do you have?
Perhaps it doesn't factor in since we're moving away from it, but remind me again, was it CKLA that had a lawsuit or legal action pending? Is that?
It's actually the magnet that we're looking at. It's their company, and I pushed out an email about that.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a potential breach in security, and they pushed out information and so that they're secure, student information is secure. And so I felt pretty confident with the response that we got. And actually, I didn't reach out for the response. They pushed out that before I had a chance to even ask. I was getting ready to email him, and he'd already pushed that out. So I sent it to all board members, so you should have all gotten that.
That was the allegation.
Yeah, there's an allegation.
From an individual that, hey, our students' information is being shared, and so the company Magnetic then responded, and we were satisfied with the response that we got.
Any other questions?
I think the pie chart answers my questions.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with the level of engagement and time and energy the team put into this work. They're very invested in it, and as they should be. So I'm excited. I met with the vendor, and they're absolutely willing, as soon as we've got your approval, to get moving on getting online access to people even prior to July 1, so they can start getting in there and playing around and getting to know the product. And then as soon as we can get physical things in their hands, I absolutely will. We're looking at getting some training started yet this year. So,
any other questions? We would entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Jessica, roll call.
Flint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
thank you.
Next up, we have consideration to approve the District Development Service Delivery Plan. Here you go. Got
Dr.
it.
Butler went over this more in detail with us last month. And so the final step is for board approval as this directs our special education program.
Yeah, absolutely. You go through it again?
It would just,
Yeah, so this is a plan that explains to our stakeholders, teachers, families, students, everyone, how we meet the needs of students who have been identified as needing special education services. Essentially, it's framed under 5 questions. starting with how we develop plans. We put a committee together of teachers. We did have one parent. We had administrators involved in that. And essentially we're identifying how we're going to meet the needs of students using a continuum of services. So we've got a clearly defined, if you want to scroll through a little bit, clearly defined continuum of services that will be used, all related to and connected to, there's our committee there, all related to and connected to our multi-tiered system of support, the beautiful diamond that you see on all the walls. So within that MTSS system, keep scrolling, within that MTSS system, which our students with IEPs live right through that middle, we've got a continuum of services. Scrolling. I'm gonna miss having you scroll through slides. We've got all the way to the far right. We've got, there you go. No, oh, man.
You're doing so well.
Yeah. We've got students that are getting the least restrictive environment, which is always the goal in the state of Iowa, is least restrictive, which is consulting teacher services. That's where a special education teacher would consult with a gen ed teacher, but the gen ed teacher would provide services all the way over to the most restrictive, which is where a student would actually be receiving services away from a public school setting. So all the way in between, we've got services. That is a requirement of the service delivery plan, is that you've got a continuum of services, which is what we have. And so the next several pages describe what each one of those services look like and what the role of a special ed teacher is versus a general education teacher. This Friday, when I meet with the special ed team, I'll walk them through this document in detail. And then in June, I'm going to have a chance on June 1st to walk the entire staff. They're super excited, I'm sure, through this document, make sure there's clarity around what it means, how we use it, where it lives, so they're well aware how to use it. Our special ed teachers also this Friday are going to get to use our caseload determination tool, if you guys approve it. We're hoping you do. Use this tool for our caseload determinations. I think it's going to be a much faster way to determine caseloads. So that'll be a tool. That's a tool we use to determine caseloads for each special education teacher. Questions about the service delivery plan?
The only question I have is, did you get any additional questions from the public after you posted it? You spoke to a few the last time we talked about it.
I had some not questions, I just had some comments. I had one bit of feedback about if you want to scroll up a little bit, from teachers, not that far, that I made a change for students that require modifications. So that was added. I had 2 or 3 teachers say, we've got students that have modifications on their IPs. That means they might, when they're in the classroom, maybe the class is reading a certain text, I have to make sure to go find that text at a different level. I've got to modify the curriculum. I've got to those modifications take time, and so we wanted to make sure to give them points for that. So I did a half a point. So for all students on your roster who you're doing that extra work for, you get half a point. So that was an addition after the committee met.
Dr. Butler, I'm not. How much different might our plan look than another district's plan?
Very similar. We actually stole from other places. So the state provides draft plans for you to start with, so you're not starting from scratch. So we started with the state plans, and then you have to post your plans. So there's plans posted all over the state, and you just borrow other people's bits and pieces of their plans and put them together, and then your committee kind of melds it together into what you want it to be. So they're all very similar. Ours is the best, but they're similar.
Any questions? I'm not going to say the name of it again, but we consider a motion to approve this delivery plan.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Jessica, roll call.
Lentz.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader. Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the 26-27 agreement with Four Oaks.
Okay, so as you guys know, we have been partnering with Four Oaks for a long time. We did reduce our the amount of our commitment, and based on some of the conversations that we had with Four Oaks and with our consultant Brittany Roberts, this is the total that we came to. Can you, Dr. Butler, can you talk a little bit about that, where we decided to focus based on those conversations?
Yeah, we I engaged in a process with the building administrators. It's been a bit, I haven't looked at it in a while. I got feedback from them, had them rate. So Brittany and I went through and put down everything we've done in the last year, and pushed that out to them and had them rate from a 1 to whatever, what was most impactful in your mind. Took all of those ratings, got some feedback from them, and then got together and she and I had a conversation about, we're gonna have to prioritize, and we based it just really on what they gave us for feedback. They were pretty consistent on the feedback they gave, and from that came up with this plan, and I feel like it fits well in regards to what the needs are. August pre-service is something that the administrators and I agree is really, really important to get us started off strong. We've worked really hard to build a trauma-informed culture here. We want to make sure that that's communicated from the start, from the get-go, for new staff, but also for veteran staff to start the year, to remind everybody. So in August, we have a teacher quality day with sessions, and so Brittany will do 4 sessions. 1 session specific to new teachers, all new teachers, to hear who we are as Mount Pleasant Community School District, what we stand for when it comes to working with students, and what it means to be a trauma-informed culture. But then 3 additional sessions for veteran staff to get back into the groove of things. Also, the administrators and myself feel it's really important to continue supporting new teachers in our mentoring. So she'll still do 2 sessions with year 1 induction teachers, so 2 mentoring sessions. It's a few less than we've done in the past, but still has 2 on regulation planning. And then I thought it was super important. She does an excellent job about February each year on burnout and completing the stress cycle. So that's about the time for brand new teachers where they're feeling a little bit wobbly. She does a great job of coming in and building them up and giving them some tools to support that. And then the next piece was we've got our building principals are doing an amazing job of using her this year to support their additional adults, their paraprofessionals in their buildings. And so we wanted to use the remainder of the funds for that, to have her available either virtual or in person to support their work with paraprofessionals. So that's time for them to use her to support at the building level with paraprofessionals. And then there's the last 1,000 to continue the work with the book studies. That's just for us to engage in the book studies. The rest of the cost of the book studies is going to come from another pot of money. I felt strongly about the book studies. There's some constraints we're going to put on the book studies to make them a little more structured, but I feel like there's an opportunity there for some learning that won't happen otherwise if we don't have it. So I feel strongly about the plan. I think we're making the best of the situation that we're in. What questions do you have?
I think something to remember, obviously the entire board got some feedback with the phase 1 budget cuts because we took some resources out of this type of support, but to remember that while we might have eliminated a few individual positions, that we really have put the time and effort into making sure that all of our staff has the training and needs, so that we empower all of our staff to be a part of the social and emotional behavior system, and that we put all this work in to keep our district moving in the right direction. So while we might have a few less dedicated, that we still continue to educate and support the entire staff on that journey.
Absolutely.
I'd just like to add continued praise to you and the rest of the admin team. Even in the face of challenges like budget cuts, your dedication to efficiency, continually going back to the building leaders and asking them, okay, if we have to cut or if we have to constrain some of this, give us what the most important elements are, and you're still able to build a plan around what's going to give them the most benefit with what we're able to expend, and that's huge.
Yeah, appreciate that. They do an excellent job with what they're given, so we'll keep working on it. Any questions?
Is there a motion to approve this 26-27 agreement with Four Oaks?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Jessica, roll call?
Flint.
Yes?
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have consideration to approve the IJAG memorandums of understanding.
Okay, and the programs aren't changing. I didn't include the memorandums. I wanted you to see what our cost is for the 3 levels of IJAG programs. We have our 7th and 8th grade program, our 9th, 10th grade program, and our 11th, 12th grade program. So it really is a really cost-effective way to meet the needs of a segment of our students that I believe we were not meeting prior to the implementation of IJAG. So we really get great bang for our bucks through the IJAG program. They just do such a great job and touch a lot of kids. So I would recommend that you approve our agreement with IJAG for 26-27.
Can you just let everyone know how many kids it serves in that segment? What is that segment? Does it deal with income levels, grades?
Yep.
Like who
Yeah.
are we serving?
Yeah. It's supposed to be 50 students for each specialist teacher, and so we try and stay around that, but we would err on the higher side. Now there were years when we first started the program, and you know, if you remember Tony, one year Tony had like 80 kids in his program, so that's too many. But it really does. The program really targets a segment of kids that I would say are at risk of not graduating, and their needs are maybe a little bit different than our kids that we serve at Wisdom Quest. It's kids that are identified, you know, by teachers who could use some of that additional support, and certainly not all of them are from poverty or from a free and reduced population, but kids who I guess maybe, Josh, the best way to put it is kids that we saw falling through the cracks. They didn't qualify for special education supports. You know, they maybe weren't on a post-secondary track, and so IJAG really gives them opportunities to develop themselves in ways that we just weren't meeting prior to IJAG.
And this individual does what during the day? You say a teacher. Are they in the schools the whole day? What are they teaching classes? Or
Yes.
Doing other things?
Yeah, I mean, Angie you've worked with our IJAG program
I
as well.
spend a day at the middle school and the high school, so they have their total number of students are divided into periods, and then they do other supports. The middle school, she also does a course support. Yep. And then they also facilitate with all the other IJAG activities outside of classroom activities, so coffee club, recycling, all of those activities, the teachers also. So there's one teacher at the middle school and then 2 teachers at the high school, and they share rooms, so they have opposite periods, and sometimes they team up. The day that I spent in the high school IJAG room, there was some pairing up a little bit, supporting each
that I was in, but.
Personal development, career development, financial literacy. They also, the specialists, as part of their requirements, they stay connected with those kids after graduation and support them post-graduation as well for at least a year after graduation.
So there are requirements from the IJAG piece, and then there are the school requirements as well. So it's, and the fact that I think this has been a consistent cost the last 3 years, and it hasn't increased. So
Right.
I was a guest speaker at the middle school for IJAG on Friday, and for all the high school last month. It's a really great program, focused on leadership development, community service, public speaking, really preparing people for careers in the future. And then with the community service aspect, it really is a positive for the Mount Pleasant community as a whole that the district gets to take part in.
yeah, it really that untapped piece that wasn't a focus or was harder to get involved in. Now there are just so many more activities, and they're on. You see their posts on our social media pages too, because they do a wide variety of things and have just done awesome things. I don't think we didn't student spot them this year, but we student spotted like last year.
Yeah, they were here in
Oh, we had the middle school this year. We had the high school last year. Yep. And at SIAC, Avery has sat at my table the last several meetings, and yeah, the participation that they also bring is good.
I will make a motion to approve the memorandums of understanding for IJAG.
I'll second.
Jessica, roll call.
Flint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader. Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the 26-27 student registration fees.
Okay, we went over this process at the Finance Committee meeting. We looked at regional schools, took averages of where registration currently is for school registration. We hit for the last few years, we've been $60 for elementary and secondary. Some schools, they go a little bit cheaper with the elementary and more expensive with the secondary. The Board of Education a number of years ago said we would like to do just one fee for all students, and for the last few years it's been $60 for elementary and secondary. The instrumental rental at $130. There's no change in either one of those. Would recommend that you approve.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Jessica, roll call.
Flint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the 26-27 hot lunch and breakfast prices.
Okay, and I went over this as well at the Finance Committee meeting. I looked at neighboring districts and what they were charging and what the averages are currently. What this would represent is a dime increase in our elementary hot lunch, a dime increase in our 6-12 hot lunch, and a 30-cent increase in our K-12 breakfast. The expectation from the USDA on this program is that school districts close the gap between the reimbursable meal price and the local price that is set. So by increasing those at a dime, it actually it does that. The breakfast is and you can jump in, Jessica, as well. Breakfast is I tell you what, our food service has upped the game over the last 2.5 years, or 2 years, going on year 3. And our kids like eating here. They love the breakfast. That was where we were losing money on breakfast, because I told the Finance Committee it's hard to make biscuits and gravy and sell it for $1.55 per serving, but that's what she does. So those are the recommended meal prices for 26-27.
Any questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Jessica, roll call?
Lint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Mocker.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the 26-27 substitute teacher bid.
Okay. Same process. We looked at the region and where we were at in the region. We were right at the average. We talked about staying where we were, which is currently $150 on a full day, and our long-term substitute teachers is $181 currently. After some conversation, we decided to increase that a bit. It's about 3%. So the recommendation is a full day, regular substitute teacher at $155, half day course then $77.50, and we move the long-term substitute up to $186 for when you're in that position for 10 consecutive days or more. So would recommend that you approve.
Any questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Jessica, roll call?
Lint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Mocker.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the district office remodel quote.
Okay, ultimately, we received just the one quote for the remodel project at the Activity Center from Gene C. Wiley and Sons. You can see the quote total there, $75,073.82. Would recommend that you approve.
Any questions?
We tried to get others and
Yeah,
we
this was not for a lack of trying. Chad tried and tried with a couple of different companies to get them here, to get them to look at it. Was told by the company representatives, yep, I'll be there, yep, I'll be there, never showed up. Same thing with the second company, yeah, we'll be there, we'll take a look, and it just never materialized. So, as I mentioned to you guys at the site committee meeting, and we just have to get moving on this now, as August 1 is the date that we need to be in there. Kevin asked a good question at our meeting. You know, if it wasn't completely done, could we still move in? My answer to that is yes. Well, we hope that's not the case, but there certainly is room that could be moved in if they were still working. So I would recommend that you approve this quote.
Any other questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Jessica, roll call?
Lint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Mocker.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the summer 2026 concrete bids.
Okay, and these the way that we've done these are, I guess I would consider them sealed quotes. I included in the packet just some information on the technicalities of the concrete, the thickness, and those kinds of things. This is all at the high school drive, high school circle, the driveway going down to the student lot. We had anticipated about $100,000 in concrete repair or demolition and replacement. The low quote was from JBC, Jim Barton Construction, $73,778.90. Would recommend that you approve.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I ask a question first?
Yeah.
So when, with the specifications for the concrete here, did they do a walkthrough to see what the areas were, or was there like a layout?
Yeah, I've done that in the past, Greg. I should have given that to you. What Chad does is he goes on Beacon and he highlights the boundaries.
Okay.
And then if they want to meet with him, they can meet with him. Yeah.
Perfect. Second.
Jessica, roll.
Lint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Macher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the first reading of School Board Policy Series 700 Non-Instructional and Business Services.
Yeah, so first reading, we went over that on Thursday at the policy committee meeting. I did change the language to include, I should have wrote that down, the policy number, but I did, it changed to change that language to include their current residents in that. And I'm still waiting to hear back from the attorney on the policy and the definition of the proprietary fund. So she just hasn't responded yet. As soon as she does, I will let you know. I just asked her, hey, the proprietary fund, the definition sounds a lot like the debt service definition. Let her know that I had looked at other school district policies, which of these is correct. So we'll get the correct definition in there and make sure we have that for our second reading of the 700 series.
So do we need to leave that one out? If it's gonna have a change between the first and second reading?
Technically, yeah, we could do, yeah, we can do that.
So approve the first reading of the 700 series with the exception of 70104
Yeah,
or
it's,
6.
financial records is what it is. I have them here. I have them right here. 704.
I was thinking it was still in the
70103.
Okay, thank you.
So we're going to approve the first reading of all of the 700 series with the exception.
I'll get to it. Just so we're clear about what we're talking about here.
701.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So Craig had pointed out that the proprietary fund, which does include these funds here, school nutrition, child care, preschool, that the definition that they have, that the school board, the Iowa Association of School Boards policy reference manual, the definition that they have, it says this fund is used to account for the accumulation of resources for and for the payment of general long-term debt, principal, and interest. Well, it's kind of a funny definition for the proprietary fund. Maybe they have a reason for that, but as you'll notice here, it's actually the same definition as the debt service fund. So what I did was, I did two things. I reached out to the School Board Association to ask for clarification on this, and then I also followed up with, and just went online to some other school districts, 701.03. Some of them had this definition, and some of them had a different definition. So if you want to approve these without this particular 701.03, I'll make sure that I have that for our June meeting.
We could do, in June, we could do both readings of that specific policy, so.
I would move to approve that. We accept the 700 series with the exemption of policy 70103.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Lynn.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader. Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Macher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the second reading of School Board Policy 60508, Artificial Intelligence in the Educational Environment.
No change. since the first reading of 60508. I didn't include that in your packet. You guys had seen it several different times, but I would recommend that you approve.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Flint.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Next, we are going into a negotiations discussion that is exempt from the open meeting law.
Got it.